The whole reason Nurul Shah Alam was in the county lockup in the first place was because he had wandered onto the property of a couple that was named in the paper as Tracy and John Chicone, who live over on Tonawanda Street. Buffalo's not that big of a town, and Chicone is not that common of a name, so I literally just Googled the names out of curiosity. And sure enough, there's a house on 531 Tonawanda owned by a Tracy and a John Chicone. Also popped up was an obituary for a woman named Cheryl Lynn Stirrup, and this obituary names a Tracy Chicone as Cheryl Lynn's sister, and says that Tracy Chicone is married to a guy named John Chicone. So you would have to assume that this Tracy Chicone had a maiden name of Stirrup. And wouldn't you know it, there's only 2 Tracy Chicones on Facebook in my area, and one is a Tracy Stirrup Chicone. Okay, so this has got to be the woman who called the cops on and pressed charges on Nurul Shah Alam in the first place. Tracy has most of her Facebook sent to friends only, so if you scroll through it, there's nothing but just like old profile pics. But she's had no problem talking to the papers and tells him that he was a violent man who charged her son. And when she found out Mr. Shah Alam was found dead, her quote to the paper was, "I'll be honest with you, I don't feel bad for what he put us through. He shouldn't even be out of jail." Oh, and by the way, when Shah Alam wandered onto her property last year and she called the cops, she told them that there was an unidentified black man in her driveway. Tracy had her account linked to her husband John, and the husband did not have his page set to private. And what has John Chicone been posting to Facebook while this shit's been going on? This is what I'm talking about when I say the conservative mindset destroys everything it comes in contact with. Of all the homes in the world that Shah Alam could have stumbled up upon, he stumbles up upon the home of these right-wing freaks scared of their own shadow. So spun around by propaganda and nonsense that when thrown into a situation that confused them, their gut reaction was to be the most disgusting versions they could be of themselves. Shah Alam probably seemed so strange to the Chicones. He was disabled, disfigured, dark-skinned, confused, foreign. He was the perfect victim for them. And then in come the police, an inherently conservative institution that's not there for public safety. It's there for hurting the bad guys, whatever the fuck that means. And the Buffalo Police took Shah Alam to the Erie County Sheriff's Office, the American criminal justice system, another inherently conservative system that is not there to lock up guilty people. It's there to just get convictions. And if the person they convict deserves to get locked up, great. And if not, they don't fucking care. They got their conviction. And he languished in that jail for a year waiting for some sort of resolution. A resolution of what? What crime? Like, no crime even occurred. Like, at best, you could call it a misunderstanding that snowballed out of control. But there I go, treating the thin blue line like a group of adults and not a bunch of whittle baby toddlers that can't think for themselves. It's probably due to my libtard woke mind virus. I'm willing to bet that one of the reasons it took a whole year for Shah Alam to get out of the jail was that the Chicones wouldn't cooperate. The Chicones were probably upset that they might lose their opportunity to get Shah Alam on a felony trespassing conviction because they knew that that would deport him. And the Chicones were probably not willing to let go of that opportunity to inflict that much harm on somebody they had become so obsessed with. And as soon as Shah Alam got out of the Erie County Holding Center, out of the care of the Erie County Sheriff's Office, he fell right into the jaws of the Department of Homeland Security, ICE, Border Patrol, the absolute fantasy dream institutions of that sick, perverted, cruel mindset that is American conservatism. And the ICE and the CPB agents didn't see Shah Alam as a human. If they saw him as a human, they wouldn't be able to do their job. Hell, if you know anybody in law enforcement, if you are related to anybody in law enforcement, you know those agents were laughing about it as they drove away. They probably were texting their buddies about how funny it was that they just dumped the guy. The conservative mindset would have taught those agents that Shah Alam's nonconformity and his needs were crimes in of themselves. Conservative culture teaches that cruelty and strength are the same thing. So in those agents' mind, any kindness that they could have shown toward Shah Alam would have been weakness toward a person who was committing a crime. And what crime would that be? The crime that Shah Alam committed in their eyes was the crime of living a life that they couldn't wrap their fucking heads around. The only way we keep ourselves free is if we keep people like the Chicones down. The only way we can keep all of ourselves safe is if we do not cooperate with the Buffalo Police or the Erie County Sheriff's Office. Don't even talk to them. And the only way to create a society that is fair is if we abolish ICE. We can go back to the old INS system. We can create a whole new system if we want. But ICE and Border Patrol are beyond reforming. Border Patrol and ICE are not there to create an orderly immigration system. They're there to create a disorderly immigration system as a way of punishing people for having the audacity to move here. That conservative worldview, that Republican MAGA mindset, whether it's operating on the small scale like it was in the home of John and Tracy Chicone, or if it's operating on the large scale like it does at ICE and Border Patrol and the Department of Homeland Security, it destroys everything it touches. It's rot all the way down.